by the International Atomic Energy Agency on this issue and is ready to assist however he can. It's vital that all parties work with the IAEA to establish an appropriate framework that will ensure the safe, secure, and reliable operation of Ukraine's nuclear power plants. Urgent and safe passage should be granted to IAEA personnel should they need to travel to Ukraine to work with regulators. Madam President, we welcome the reported agreement between the Ukrainian and Russian negotiators during their second round of talks. We understand the discussion focused on the establishment of humanitarian corridors to allow safe passage for civilians and the delivery of humanitarian assistance. We hope that this reported agreement is implemented without delay and that a full and unconditional ceasefire is quickly agreed and enacted. We urge the sides to continue negotiations and to make urgent progress on security, humanitarian, and other issues. Madam President, as the Secretary General has emphatically stated, the sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity of Ukraine within its internationally recognized borders must be respected in line with General Assembly resolutions. What we are witnessing in Ukraine today is inconsistent with the principles of the UN Charter. Only diplomacy and negotiations can achieve a truly lasting solution to the current conflict. The fighting in Ukraine must stop, and it must stop now. Thank you, Madam President.
I thank Ms. DiCarlo for her briefing, and I now give the floor to Mr. Rafael Mariano Grossi. We're hoping the connection will be working from the airplane. We cannot hear you. We've lost Mr. Grossi for the moment. We're going to start with our list of speakers and then come back to him when connection is reestablished. I'd like to therefore invite those council members who wish to make statements, and I give the floor to the representative of the United Kingdom. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, and I'd like to thank Under-Secretary General DiCarlo for her briefing, and we look forward to hearing the briefing from Mr. Grossi. The United Kingdom and our partners called this urgent meeting because Russian forces last night attacked the largest nuclear power station in Europe. We're grateful to the Ukrainian firefighters and authorities who got the fire under control and are working bravely to ensure that the plant remains safe. We support the work of the IAEA in Ukraine and are relieved that so far they have reported that none of the safety systems in the plant was affected and that there was no release of radioactive material. Colleagues, this is the first time that a state has attacked a fueled and functioning nuclear power plant. International law requires special protection for nuclear facilities, and it is difficult to see how Russia's actions were compatible with its commitments under Article 56 of the Additional Protocol of the Geneva's Conventions. It must not happen again. Even in the midst of an illegal invasion of Ukraine, Russia must keep fighting away from and protect the safety and security of nuclear sites. Colleagues, President Putin said yesterday that the special military operation, or as everyone else calls it, the war, was going to plan. Everyone around this table knows that is not true. President Putin misjudged the strength, resilience, and will of the Ukrainian people to his invasion. He underestimated the world's condemnation of his actions. 141 votes in the General Assembly and the unprecedented sanctions on Russia demonstrate the strength of the global response. Every day this war continues, the destruction it brings to Ukraine, the suffering it inflicts on Ukrainian and Russian people, and the risks it poses to international peace and security increase. This must stop. We call on Russia to end this violence, withdraw its troops, and enter into serious peace negotiations. I thank you, Madam President.
I thank the representative of the United Kingdom for their statement. I will now try and give the floor to Mr. Rafael Mariano Grossi to give his briefing to the Council.
Thank you, Madam President. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. We can hear you.
Very good. So I will try to proceed with my briefing on the current situation in the Ukraine, and especially after the events last night. We have been in contact with the Nuclear Regulation Agency of the Ukraine from the very beginning of the conflict, and we have been receiving updates and information from them without interruption. In general, the situation could be described as follows. The nuclear installations and nuclear facilities in Ukraine are quite important. 4 big sites, 15 reactors and associated facilities, plus the site of Chernobyl. Regarding Chernobyl, already last week, we were informed, and it was so confirmed afterwards, that the Russian special military forces took charge of the site. At the same time, the operators of the plant, of the Chernobyl plant, continued to run the day-by-day operations over there. A few days ago, we were informed again by the Russian government that military forces were moving in the area of Zaporozhye nuclear power plant with the similar mission to take over control of this facility. We got information in the sense that their advance towards the perimeter of the nuclear power plant was met with opposition and some group of civilians obstructing the access to the plant. Finally, this happened, and last night, in the early hours of the morning, we got information that a projectile had impacted a building adjacent to the block of reactors, 6 of them. The projectile impacted this building and a fire ensued, which was after some time put out by the fire brigade at the station. We confirm through our contacts at the regulator, but also directly from the plant, we were able to confirm that no security or safety systems had been compromised, neither the reactors themselves have been hit by this projectile. Only, as I say and repeat, this building which caught fire, and perhaps you saw some images of that in the social media. After this, the operation of and at the plant had continued. We consider from a technical point of view that operation continues normally, although, as I have stressed to the board of governors of the IAEA, there is no, of course, normalcy about this situation when there are military forces, of course, in charge of the site. In terms of the next steps, we continue our permanent contact with the Ukrainian authorities, governmental, nuclear regulatory, and also Energoatom, the company which operates these facilities, and also operators there. This is or constitutes the basis of the regular updates, more than 10 or 12 at this point, which you have been seeing on the websites of the IAEA. At the same time, today, I indicated in the morning my readiness to travel as soon as practicable to Chernobyl in order to consult, of course, with our Ukrainian counterparts, but also, if necessary and when necessary, to the forces in charge, in order to establish a stable framework so the observance of the basic principles of safety and security, starting with the physical integrity of the facilities, can be observed. Basic elements of this initiative proposal have already been shared with the Ukrainian counterparts and the Russian authorities, which are at this point evaluating that. We believe that having received a direct request for assistance, it is our duty as the IAEA to heed this call and to try to provide assistance. Needless to say, in particular, Madam President, to your body and the distinguished representatives over there, that this mission of the IAEA, if and when it takes place, would not, of course, have anything to do with the political and diplomatic aspects that are in the purview of the Security Council. This mission would be strictly restricted and circumscribed to the safety and security of the nuclear installations in Ukraine, which are evidently, and as facts have shown, under constant danger of damage and accidents. So, Madam President, I hope these basic elements will help you in the evaluation of the situation. We request members of the Council, as I have done in Vienna at my Board of Governors, to support my efforts as Director General and those of the IAEA in order to ensure a basic element in this very difficult situation, which is the safety and the security of this important infrastructure of the country. I thank you very much, Madam President, and I will be ready in case there are questions or particular points that might not be clear to clarify them. I thank you very much, and I excuse myself for the pure quality of my connection. As you know, I'm airborne now. I'm on my way to Tehran to deal with another issue which is of direct interest of the Council, which is the hopefully solution of the outstanding aspects of the nuclear power program in the Islamic Republic of Iran. Thank you very much.
I thank Mr. Grossi for his briefing, and we'll now continue with the list of speakers and then come back for any questions to the briefers. I now give the floor to the representative of Albania. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, and I'd like to thank USG Di Carlo, and we're happy that we could listen to DG Grossi, and I'd like to reassure him of our full support in his efforts on the issue on the issue that we're discussing today. Dear colleagues, 10 days into the so-called special operation, which in reality is the operation How to Invade Your Neighbor, and we are in the midst of a large-scale human tragedy running towards an overall catastrophe for Ukraine first, but for Russia as well, and as we see every day, with serious implications for the wider Europe. Thousands have been killed, with at least 2,000 civilians. According to UN reports, some 12 million people are in urgent need of humanitarian